Paul Chamblina, founder of Landlord Action. Just like to talk to you a bit about your company and about you yourself.
Yeah.
What's your background? How long have you been in the property game?
I've been dealing with problem tenants and debts, I'd say, for most of about 23 years. I worked in a law firm, worked in the last recession, did mortgage repossession, did landlord and tenant. Then I became a certificated bailiff, then I became a crime investigator, then I became a process server, then I became a debt recovery guy, and then I'd always done evictions. And in 1999 I set up Landlord Action with my co-director Jonathan. I dealt with 53 illegal Chinese immigrants from a 3-bed house.
That was your first case?
That was my first case with my colleague Jonathan. I did it for fixed fees, he couldn't believe it, and then out of that, Landlord Action was born.
Right. So the company now, what does the company itself do now for landlords?
So what we do is we offer free advice to landlords, we offer fixed fees for eviction, okay? Serve a notice, we get a court order, we get the bailiffs in. We also do debt recovery, we do tracing, and we do educational seminars, i.e. next week we're doing a seminar on local housing allowance because the cuts are coming in. And also I'm doing a joint seminar with Kate from Design for Property, as you well know, and that's on the basically do's and don'ts with regard to buy-to-let. We started in 1999 and we've dealt with over 18,000 instructions from landlords, so we are the market leaders in our field.
And you have a free advice line, and any landlord can phone you at any time?
Any landlord can call me. I don't give them a mobile because they can call me 100 times a day, but they call us up, free advice line, and all my staff are fully trained, and even if they don't use us now, they know we're at the end of the line and they can use us another day.
Right, Paul, can you give us your top 5 tips for landlords when they're dealing with problem tenants?
Yes, I can, and it's all about the referencing. So the first most important part of referencing is 3 months bank statements, 3 to 6 month bank statements. The reason why we ask our tenants for 3 to 6 month bank statements, we see what day of the month they get paid, how much they get paid, have they paid their last rent, how much do they afford to living on, are they paying any finance payments, shows the trail and the pattern of their spending. That's a very important thing to do.
So almost address the problems before they arise.
Yeah, I mean, there's loads of other referencing. We could do obviously employers reference, previous landlords reference, photo ID, copies of a previous tenancy agreement, utility bill, national insurance number. They're the key, most important things that you should do. If a landlord doesn't have time to do referencing, then they need to get a tenant referencing company that must do it for them.
So it's your due diligence before you take the tenant on board?
Most definitely. You always have to have a gut feeling. I had one landlord actually that what they did, and they had a lot of time to do this in their management, is that they would interview and meet a tenant at their previous property to have a little look around the property to see how they would keep their property. But not all landlords can do that.
Right, so that's point number 1. Point number 2?
Point number 2 is, if you can't manage, always get a good reputable letting agent, okay? Someone that belongs to ALA, NAEA, the Guild of Letting Management, the Property Ombudsman, okay? That's really a must. And also make sure you do your referencing with regard to that company. You know, get landlords that use the company. Check, there's a website called Rate My Agent, if I remember rightly, on the website, which rates the actual agency, what their terms and conditions, you know, what their fees, what do they do midterm spot checks, do they do inventories. You need to make sure that you're clear and they've got a good reputation. And, you know, do they have a good reputation in the press locally? That's really important.
Yeah, so points 1 and 2 is all about your research.
All about your research. Third tip, don't be rash. Don't think that you've got a void and you need to put someone in there. Don't be rash with regard to your decision making with regard to the tenant. Have a good gut feeling on the tenant as well.
Good stuff. Number 4?
Number 4, make sure you've got good suppliers in place. Good suppliers you can trust. Maintenance suppliers, plumbers, electricians, good advice, good legal advice with regard to buy-to-let. Make sure you've got good mortgage advice. There's people that specialise in buy-to-let. We're looking at the whole lifeline of a buy-to-let scenario.
Right, so you're not rushing it, making you're surrounded by really good experts.
Really good experts in buy-to-let, recommendations, you know, do your research, come to shows like this, go to free seminars, okay, and hear the experts speak, find out about those individuals. That's a problem, and if we talk about obviously property investment, there's too many people that have got sucked into the marketing of some of these companies, pay big large deposits over, and unfortunately, part of my business, I do debt recovery with obviously rogue investment companies as well, which can be quite sad for investors.
Yeah, sad and expensive.
Sad and very expensive.
And the last tip for landlords?
The last tip for landlords is always make sure that you have a very good property that you keep up to lettable state. Don't give the tenant advice an excuse not to not pay the rent. Make sure that obviously you've got your EPCs in place. Make sure that your inventory is all in place. Make sure it's a good lettable state, because obviously you can give the tenant any excuse not to pay the rent. So make sure maintenance is very much important on the checklist to make sure that's up to date.
So the long and short is, if you cut corners at any stage of the process, you can land yourself in a lot of trouble.
Exactly, and always look at buy-to-let long term, not short term.
Lovely. Thanks very much, Paul.
You're welcome, Sarah.